Hey, hello everyone. Welcome to Impact. Welcome to Impact. I'm your host Paul Machebele, and I'm joined in the studio today by Sister Neo Madaucha. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. And yourself?
No, I'm fine. I'm fine. Yeah. So today we are going to be having a discussion with Sister Neo on how the Lord has led her in her life, and who she is, and just getting to know her much better. So, yes, can you please introduce yourself to the viewers?
Okay. Briefly, my name is Mataucha Neo Mudaudzi. I am from Polokwane and I come from a family of 6. I am the second born. I have an older brother and 2 younger sisters. And yeah, I've grown up Adventist my whole life. I am what they call third generation Adventist.
Okay. No, man, nice to hear that. Nice to hear. So you were born in a family of how many? Of 6?
Yes, we are 6, so it's my parents and then 4 children.
Oh, okay, okay. No, that's what you mean. Okay, I thought maybe the other 2. So you are 6. Oh, so you have 4 actually, and
Yes,
then so you are the second born.
yes, I'm the second born. I have an
Oh,
older brother
okay.
and 2 younger sisters.
Okay. No man, no man. Nice to know that. So as you were saying, you were born in Adventist.
Yes, I was born in Adventist. My parents actually, um, their parents were Adventist.
Okay.
So themselves as well, they're Adventist, and then
Okay.
I'm Adventist as well. So I
Oh,
just grew up going to church,
okay.
and my mom has this thing where she says, Ore, like, I'm not gonna force you
Okay.
unless like she would say, "Ore, I'm not gonna force you
Okay.
unless if it's church related." So I grew up even being forced with the church thing was not even an option because Adventist parents. So yeah,
Oh,
I grew up in the church.
wow. Oh, okay. So your mother will say, I will not force you, and then end up forcing you to go to church.
Yeah, if it's church things, she would say, no, this one you must know we have to force you. But any other thing, I'm not gonna force you.
No, very interesting. So primarily you grew up in Polokwane.
Yes, I grew up in Polokwane because my mom actually got a job in the year 2000.
Okay.
So she started working here in Polokwane. And then in the meantime, we're actually staying with my grandparents. Yeah,
Oh,
so my mom's parents,
okay.
basically.
Okay.
So we then later joined her. I think 2001 to 2000, yeah, 2001,
Okay.
basically. Yeah, so
Okay.
since then, I've been in Polokwane.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. No, I understand. And then, so like so how was Adventism, looking at it from your perspective from when you were young? What was it all about?
Okay, so for me, Adventism, or let me say, my first memory of like my Christian journey
Mm-hmm.
was when I was staying with my grandmother. I think I was around 3 years old. So she's the one that had taught us about the whole concept of knowing that there's actually a God.
Okay.
Yeah. So even the prayer, she's the one that taught us like how to pray. So growing up, I just knew there's prayer, then there's also like conversations with God, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which was not so different, but prayer was the recited one. So the prayer that we would pray was, Dear Father God, thank you for the morning. Please keep us safe in your hands. In Jesus' name, amen. So that was a daily thing. Like when she asks you, have you prayed? That's what she means. Did you recite that? So
Oh,
we would recite that,
okay.
my brother and I. And then outside of that, I obviously had conversations now with God because she would show that God would speak to people back in the day.
Okay.
And with us, he's not directly talking to us, like we're not hearing his voice because of sin. but he can hear us, right? So I'd
Okay.
have conversations with God because growing up, I was taught about the second coming. And actually, because you were asking me about my name. So my name, I get it's Madaucha. So the full name is actually Madaucha Adubaliwulu, which is
Oh,
the dawn of a what would call it a
a
great day,
great
a
day.
big day,
A big
right?
day. Yeah.
And that day is actually the coming of the Lord, right?
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
So when I grew up knowing that we are awaiting the second coming, you know. So even in the song, Creston song, well, the Venda version, which is Ngosha Yadzi Ngosha,
Okay.
right? My dad would frequently show me songs which have my name in it, and those songs were relating to the second coming of
Okay.
Christ.
Okay.
So growing up, I would often have these conversations with God, and in that, I'd ask him like, "When are you coming?
Okay.
Please tell me."
Okay.
I'm gonna keep it a secret because I see you don't want anyone to. Mind you, I'm like
Yes.
3 years old by
Yeah.
then.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like, I'd like to know. You know, I always would have conversation where I'd ask, "What is it gonna look like? When will it happen? Am I going to be there?
Okay.
Are you got?" So for me, that
Wow.
was
Wow.
the religion I had. It was centered around the coming of the Lord.
Okay.
Yes. So that was what early childhood.
Oh. So the one who would teach you like how to pray was your grandmother, or it was your mother?
It was my grandmother because by then I'm staying with her,
Okay.
and then my parents would just visit us there, and then they would
Oh.
tell us, "No, we're gonna come and get you," you know.
Oh.
But I didn't know when, like, when will it be that day where we get to go home with you guys?
Okay.
Yeah, but like and stay with you because
Okay.
we grew up staying with them. All of a sudden, we're staying with our grandparents, which are very strict, by the way,
Yes.
extremely strict, you
Okay.
know. So we're just waiting, you know. I remember growing up, my brother would often cry when my parents would leave, and I'd be the one to comfort him to say, "No, don't worry, they're gonna come and get us one day. They're gonna come and get us." But we just didn't know when that day would come. So yeah, we grew up with our grandparents. They're the ones that taught us these things. And also my grandparents would go to church quite often. So for me, life also revolved around church. Yeah, but like those prayer meetings and
Mm.
so forth. So we're
Mm,
always at
mm,
church.
mm, mm, mm.
It's just what Sabbath was the day where you get to dress up and yeah, when you eat the nice food. But church was our second home. We're always at church now and again. So yeah.
Like normally, you find that there's Wednesday prayers, Friday Sabbath. I mean, Sabbath opening would normally do it. All of us as a church. I don't know if that's how the structure was as well. Or
Yes, it was that. But remember also there are also those 10 days of prayer,
okay,
a week of prayer,
okay,
so we were frequently always there.
wow,
Yeah, but actually the way I was always at church, my preschool was actually at church. So during the day, it's a preschool.
okay,
Yeah, but so we were only two that were studying there or learning there.
okay.
So during the day, it's preschool for me. And then in the evening, we're coming back for prayer sessions, you know, with other families and so forth. So it was like a second home when I was staying with my grandparents. Yeah.
So it means that that environment with your grandparents became a very foundational in your Christianity. Like they are the one who actually introduced Christianity properly. You would say like your recollections of it.
Yes, I would say that because after moving in with my mom, the foundation I had received from my grandparents is what kept me going
Okay.
because when we're staying now with my mom, my dad was still in Venda, so he'd just come home on weekends. So my brother and I, because we're in this together, remember, we're the only two kids at
Okay.
this point in
Okay.
time, yes.
Yes.
So what I'm saying, I'm sure is what he would say as well
Okay.
regarding our foundation. So yeah, around this time when we're now staying with my mom, we would walk to church, just the two of us, because we were so used to Sabbath being Sabbath, you know. So even if my mom is not going, we would just go the two of us, you know. And Yeah, in terms of growing up as well, I just had those Bible stories, like the ones for kids. Yeah, so I just asked my parents to get that for me. And that was, I guess, my form of the Bible. So I would read this thing. So it kept me going as a child. I guess it was what was sufficient for
Yes.
me
Okay.
then. And then as I was growing up, I then, let me say, oh, also I got baptized quite early. I
Okay.
think I was like in grade 5. I got baptized. But then the thing is, I got baptized, and I think by then I didn't really know everything. I just felt like I want to make this decision for Christ. I want to make the stand for Christ. So I didn't understand a whole lot of things, which I got to understand later. But for me, it was enough to say, I want to make the stand for Christ.
Wow.
And then now in high school, like I was just alive spiritually. I think I was non-existent. I didn't own a Bible,
Okay.
I was not reading. Yes, there were Bibles at home, but it's not mine,
Okay.
so it's not like a personal thing to me. So I'm not reading my Bible.
So this was
And
after now your parents took you now, or it was still with your grandmother?
no, now I'm staying with my parents.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, full
Okay.
time.
Okay.
Yes, actually, I think around then because I was in, oh, I'm trying to think. My dad was staying with us because my dad was working in Venda for the most part. But no, I think around this time, no, he was still in Venda. He was not staying with us. So this is high school. So
Okay.
I would just see my dad on weekends, of which he was very strict as well. So as I said, my parents would at this age now they force us to go to church. Like
Okay. Okay.
force in the sense that it's not an option. Like you
Yes.
can't even say namusa to koya.
Okay.
Like it's not an option. So
Okay.
yeah, we were going to church together as a family. But for me, I feel like I didn't have like a personal relationship with God. So everything I'm learning about God is what I'm learning from church. Like you see those PowerPoint lessons, Cornerstone, of which I wouldn't even read those things. Only when we're discussing at church, I would know, okay, today we're discussing about this, or today it was that. But it was what I would call a very shallow experience. Yeah. Well. And then moving on, I think my Christianity properly started in my varsity years. So
So the whole of the whole of I mean the whole of high school, you were just floating through it.
yeah, no, I was just floating through it, honestly. It was, I feel like you could ask me even Bible stories and I wouldn't know. Like you could ask me, okay, do you know the story of what? And I wouldn't know, like, okay, what story is that? Like even some stories which one would think that, hey, well, this is basic, I didn't know those things and stuff like that. So obviously it would like somewhat reflect, in I guess the way you speak as well. Like you speak like the world. If they're swearing, you're also swearing. And whatever they're eating, we're eating. When we're eating quarter with Russians, and I'm there as well. Because I'm not personalized anything at this point. So I went to varsity. I studied at University of Limpopo, right? So when I started, I was doing a Bachelor of Science in the major was what again? What was the thing? Because it's in biology. That's just how much I didn't even like this thing.
Is it molecular?
Life and molecular
Yeah,
science,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So
Okay.
I'm studying that at TEF. So around this time, also I grew up a very shy person. Like I couldn't even talk in front of people. It was so
Okay.
sad.
Okay.
So around this time, like the shyness is so extreme that I care so much what people think,
Okay.
right? Like think about me. So now I didn't even go to church when I was in varsity because in my mind I thought, what are people gonna say when I'm leaving here on a Saturday dressed for church? No, man, this they're gonna ask me questions. Why are you going like on Saturday and then not on Sunday? I didn't want that attention. So I didn't go to church when I was in varsity. So I would go when I go home, because remember, at home it's not an option.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So if I go home, I know they're going to church, so I'm gonna go with them. But in varsity, I wasn't going. So this one day, I think someone had noticed me that, oh, this is, Marondi. Marondi is my dad, right?
Okay.
This is Marondi's child, and this child doesn't come to church. Yeah, well, so I think they thought, okay, the best way maybe we can bring this person to church is to invite her dad to come and preach. So that Saturday, my dad was invited, and I had to go now with him, as the whole family, and so I'm not used to church in university, so this is my first time here, and I just thought that my parents would attend and then leave. So now they want to stay for the afternoon, do the whole observing Sabbath, and I didn't want that. I didn't want to attend the afternoon thing, because at this time, like I said, for me, Sabbath was even just, it's a regular day.
Okay. Okay.
Like, actually, I think I should also mention this part, like, the degree that I was doing was so intense that we would knock off at 6:30 every day.
Okay.
Like, actually, it's 6:45 every single day. It was like that. And then you write tests on Sabbath, you do tutorials. So I'm within. I'm doing all of those things. I see nothing wrong, so I felt like, also going back to this Sabbath where my parents were invited.
Okay.
So I wanted them to leave, because I was like, this is my day of just chillaxing,
Yes.
and you guys are here, you don't want to leave, and I think they were not aware that, like, they were aware that Neo is displeased, but they didn't understand why. Because
Wow.
I wanted them gone
Wow.
on this time.
Wow.
But they're still there, and we had to attend the afternoon service. I was so angry that day,
Wow.
and I didn't make them feel at home, and they were like, hey, well, what's going on? Kanti, I actually wanted to, I guess, do my own things, because I wanted to visit a friend on that Sabbath day. So yeah, it started there, and after attending that, someone noticed me to say, okay, this girl is here. We had exchanged numbers, I'm added into these groups, these STASM
Okay.
groups and whatnot. So they would frequently check up on me. Hey, are you around this Sabbath? So some Sabbaths I was home, some Sabbaths, like, I would attend, but I was not frequent, and my schedule was very tight, which brings me now to 2017, where oh yes, before 2017, when the year was coming to an end, like, I'm starting to pick up this fire, of Adventism. So I stopped attending classes on Saturday and writing tests, and around this time, my circle of friends, like, because they're not Adventist, like, they just have that thing of like, hi, when I actor, because all along, like, you were attending, what has changed now? And I'm like, it's my religion. So they're like, where was this religion? Beginning of the year, like, this wasn't you, like, what's going on, so at that time, I really felt like a hypocrite. I felt like I've set a very bad example, because these are also friends that would invite me, hey, there's the freshers ball, don't you want to come, and I'm going with them, okay, sharp, I'm coming, so now it's like I'm slowly removing myself from these people. I don't attend classes anymore on Sabbath. I don't know. So it's like, what's going on with this person? Yeah, but still, I've not caught on, like, this fire of, what's going on. So in 2017, I think this is where the real testimony now is, right?
Okay.
So in 2017, I was supposed to now be doing my second year. So my results are out. Oh, also, did I mention I said I'm not attending this Sabbath what words and writing, and at that time I felt like I'm making a stand for my God, and I actually failed.
Yes.
Like that thing which I was saying. But okay, let me not say failed, because what happened was I didn't write it. And then the teacher had said, anyone who doesn't write like the exam and wants a special exam, I'm telling you now, you're not gonna pass. Yeah. Well, so I just battled with the Lord. Should I just write? Musi will understand, because I've been writing all along. So should I just continue? Or should I not, but by now I guess my conscience has a little bit of spark, so it's saying no, don't write, so I said, okay, I'm not gonna write. And exactly what that lecturer said would happen happened. I didn't pass that exam, so I had to rewrite, but then I had to go through like summer school. So for December I was attending that summer school, yes. And it felt like this has taken away my holiday.
Wow.
I should have just written on Sabbath. I was a bit upset with the Lord, but I was like, okay, it's fine. Let me just attend. And then I wrote the exam. And then, yes, I passed. So now when the results of, like the entire results of my first year came out, I had to repeat my maths, of which it was not my major. So when I saw that statement, I was like, I'm pretty sure I don't have to like okay, I knew I had to repeat, but I didn't know I'm gonna do that alone. Like it's gonna block my second year studies.
Wow.
Yeah. So
why is it your major?
It's not even my major. Exactly. So I then asked because now I'm used to the brethren, like within the church.
Okay.
So there was
So you got some friends now from
well, I can't even call them friends, but I'm within the group, so I know a couple of people.
Okay.
So I spoke to Mrs. Majabele, because she was working there and she was in the faculty chemistry.
Okay.
So I went to her, and then she said, no, it's fine, I can sort you out, you don't have to repeat the year. And then she spoke to, I think it was Dr. Thomas or something, this Indian, yeah. And then they said, no, this person does not have to repeat. This person can go on to the next year. I mean, do the modules for their second year. So I'm excited now, and I'm like, okay, because now I'm having that relationship where I'm praying all over again, like, oh God, please help me here.
Okay.
Because previously I feel like I didn't really even have that. I wanted to solve things my own way. Like I got this type of a thing. So now I'm learning to say, no, you can pray about things. So now I'm praying to say, God, please help me. Like I can't repeat one module and then not be able to do other stuff. Like, what am I going to be doing the whole year? And remember, I'm used to knocking off at like almost 7. And now I'm going to be I'm done by 10 a.m. What am I going to do the whole day? West part, I'm not attending every day, So after they spoke with the people, it so happens that because I'm registered under the school of like biology and not the school of chemistry, although it's the same degree, it's the same content, they said no, you have to repeat. So I was so heartbroken that day to say, God, what am I going to do with so much free time? Like, what is this, And it was very hard for me to also accept the idea of failing, because we didn't grow up failing, like you are that child that's doing well. So I then enrolled into what they call master guide.
Okay.
Master guide, yeah. So I thought, okay, maybe let me just do this thing. So by then, like you can just tell, man, with my life, like I'm the way I dress, like it's worldly. What I eat, it's worldly. Like I'm just that person, like my spiritual life is very shallow. And I was like, okay, God, net fella, to just have this as a hobby. I'm gonna just do this master guide to push time. And I think I should also mention this, that when I was in high school, there was a very influential person in our church who comes from a very strict home himself.
Okay.
So they were so strict that this guy hated Ellen White. And mind you, I have no idea what's going on with this whole Ellen White stuff. I've never read her books.
Okay.
I'm baptized, so yes, I said I believe she's the prophet, but I don't know anything
Okay.
about her books. I have no idea. But then this person managed to influence me to hate Ellen White.
Okay.
So at this point in time, I don't like Ellen White. But if you ask me why, like I have no reason. Like I've not seen anything where I can say, yeah, I don't like her because of this. Yeah. So you could never convince me to read anything Ellen White. So when I enrolled now for this master guide, it said you must read Ellen White.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was part of the prerequisites.
Yeah, like the classes, yeah, of course.
The
Yeah.
classes, yeah. So the first book that I read was Steps to Christ. That was the recommended book, you know. So I was like, what? You know, like moving from, chapter to chapter, talking about God's love for men, And at this time, like, I'm starting to understand God a little bit better because I think I had grown as well to think of God as that strict parent because I grew up with a strict parent such that I was not really friends with my dad. He was the parent, we're not friends. So I think I automatically just thought this is how it is. Like God is that parent who says, hey, don't do that. Hey, get over it. So this book, Steps to Christ, speaks about God's love for men. Like, wow, sometimes you struggle to balance a strict parent with love. Like I think until you are grown up, you're like, this person loved me.
Yeah.
But then it's like you don't see it.
Yes.
You just feel like, oh, this one.
It's just controlling.
Yeah, like
just too much.
it's just too much. So I felt that way with my dad, and I felt that way with God. Because also the way my dad was so strict, like on Sabbath, like you'd find that maybe my friend would ask, hey, do you mind just coming to like my birthday lunch? Right. So if I had asked my dad, okay, can I please go? Like it's a straight up no. And he's not even mincing his word. And it's like you even feel like, why did I even bother asking this person? So at that time, like I just felt like, hi man, this man, like I would be better off with just my mom because my mom was more understanding.
Okay.
She probably would just be able to allow me to go. But my dad, like my dad was so strict. Even during the week, you couldn't go out. Yeah, but like if friends are saying let's go out, it's still not allowed. So anyway,
So sorry to interrupt. So you're saying that this high school friend of yours was coming from a very strict family.
Yeah, like they practiced, I guess, Ellen White writings.
Okay.
They were homeschooled.
Okay.
They were at some point the health reformers.
Oh.
Yeah, but like they were strict. They're not allowed to eat this. Not allowed to do this and that. Yeah, so I don't know how it like affected this person, but the end result was just I hate Ellen White.
Okay.
Yeah, so he just, because we're not friends, we were just church mates.
Okay.
But he was very influential.
Okay.
Those people,
Yeah.
like they're very influential, like what they say, like you will digest it the way they put it and so forth.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so I just hated Ellen White because of him. He's not even my friend, but I was like, maybe
then I want nothing to do with
I want
this.
nothing to do with this
Yeah,
thing as well.
This woman then is a problem here.
Yes.
If my friend is like this, then it means there's a problem. Okay, I understand.
Yes, yes, definitely. So now the book I read, as I'm saying, Steps to Christ, like it was just eye-opening. The second chapter speaking about the sinner's need for Christ. It was like you are given a mirror and you see yourself to say, what? I'm this person, like I think this is the chapter as well that speaks about, like ropes of sand, like promising God, because you promise God, no, God, I'm gonna attend church, don't worry, but next thing you just don't feel like it. Like I felt this desire for godliness. I don't have it, like I don't find pleasure in just taking my Bible and reading. I want to watch the movies. I want to listen to music, like worldly or secular music. This is what speaks to me. I want to wear this. I want to do this, So I felt like I don't have this desire. But as I was reading that book, like it was showing that, yes, because that is your carnal nature, but you can have a spiritual nature. God can do this, for you. So I read that book, and this is now the part where I remember I met you because you were also attending. Well, you're not attending the university, but you were attending STASM.
Church, right?
STASM Church,
Yeah,
yes.
I think yeah, there was some, yeah. I was not, there was a time where I was attending dancing, yeah.
Yes, so around that time, there was a afternoon lesson that I attended, right?
Okay.
Which was talking about false prophets, and at the end, it spoke about a real prophet. It was a very lengthy afternoon study. Like we were writing, taking notes, and so forth. By then, mind you, I still don't have a Bible. Like my relationship is still, And at that time, I learned that of course, I knew there's like false prophets, but I didn't think I could be able to prove it from the Bible to say this one is a false prophet.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I thought that, when they say a spirit of discernment is more of like, it will just come to you naturally.
Oh.
And you would know that this one.
I think
this one.
I don't.
This one I don't trust him.
I don't trust him. He looks false.
Yes, I thought it was something like that until there was like that lesson to say no, these things are in the Bible.
Okay.
To mark a true prophet of God and what is a false prophet. And I remember after the study was done, like midway, a whole list of prophets fell out. Like people that I even thought, how is this person even harmless?
Wow.
Of course, okay, I guess for the sake of the studio, maybe I shouldn't mention.
No, don't worry, mention. You can mention. I don't have a problem.
But like, yeah, the likes of like Wotibi, Joshua, and all of them, because I thought these people are harmless. I just thought it's not like they're saying let's worship Satan. Like how is this person false? Isn't this the type of people that are healing people? Are you saying that at all? Christ is not at work. I couldn't fathom that.
Wow.
So these are false prophets. What? Then who is the real prophet, right? As the lesson was going on and on, there was a mention of the real prophet and the markers which show, that this is a real prophet. This is the last day prophet. And it pointed to Ellen White. I'm like, what? I'm like, okay, I guess I understood, Uri. When we got baptized, we did say that, yeah, no, I agree that this is the prophet. But this is the last day prophet. I was like, what? Okay, I need to, read more.
Oh, wow.
Of her book. So it just so happens that, as I mentioned, I think I have a lot in common with my dad. So my dad had a collection, a lot of Ellen White books, and that's where I started. I just started, like, when I'd go home, I'd take, books, more thoughts from the Mount of Blessings, mind, character, personality, volume 1, volume 2. Like he had so many books, that I was just even overwhelmed. And even as I was reading, I just couldn't tell, Luri, remind me again why I hated this person.
Wow.
Because I felt like I wanted nothing to do with this. And now I'm like, what is this? This was here all along, and actually those books, the way they were old, like the books from the 90s.
Wow.
They were my dad's books. I
Wow.
think even before he got married, because it would be written Murauzi T, then it would say 1990 or say 1993, And these are books that I think my dad would read so often that when we were kids, he would read so often that they would be lying around. So I had access to them. So I would scribble in the book, so like now as I'm reading, I'm seeing my red pen there. I'm seeing the torn pages. I'm seeing, okay, this page is gone, so I can't even read this part. But that's where I started. I started reading these books. And I started also, so now it's like it's twofold, I'm here discovering God, and at church as well, like it's getting heated, like our dasm is on fire, like with lessons and so forth, so I'm now frequently attending. Like, remember, as I started, I also mentioned I was so I don't know if I say ashamed, but I think, I was ashamed of the gospel of Christ.
Yes.
I didn't want to be seen going to church. Now here I am every single day, like I'm going, because there's Wednesday, there's Friday, sometimes like it's week of prayer, like just like it was when we were growing up, where church is like your second home, like you are there on the WhatsApp group. Hey guys, what's the venue for today? I'm actively going here, and I'm like, what is this? Like the stuff that they would teach, like our afternoon programs were super, like they were proper, and I'm now getting used to the brethren. So one of the brethren that I got used to suggested that, how about I teach this to you one-on-one, and I was saying, okay, that's fine. So remember, at this time, I'm so much open to the readings of Ellen White, because I'm reading them, like the different books I'm reading, like I'm within now, So this brethren would come, open the laptop and play a video, like a sermon or a teaching or whatever. So we started going to the prophecies, and I'm just there like, what? And like we moved from prophecies, we did, I think one of the things that I remember being taught, and I was so shocked, like it took me almost a week to digest this thing.
Wow.
Was on the issue of health, like health reform. So the video that this brethren played was done by non-Adventists,
Okay.
right? Speaking on the issue of diet in particular. Yeah. So they're speaking about diet and how it affects health, right? So in this video, they showed that like this person, basically, it took him close to 10 years of researching, trying to find out the link, that exists, trying to recruit doctors to do this thing, to do, or rather to be part of his study.
Okay. Okay.
So they had found that through a plant-based diet, they were able to reverse like serious diseases, like diseases that myself, because I was in the biology faculty, like you just know these things are not reversible, like the science behind it is so like your cancer and whatnot. So in that particular video, they had helped someone who was on, you see those last number respiratory problems, like where you even have like that oxygen mask in the tank, they put that person on a diet for like 2 weeks, and that person was off that respiratory thing. There was one who was due for surgery, and they put that person on a diet. So when I looked at that thing, and remember, I'm not looking at it alone, there's someone here in the room with me, I guess answering questions that I have. So this person, after showing me that video, showed me that these things are there in the books. Ellen White spoke about these things, and the shocker for me was to say it had to take someone's research 10 years, whereas there is a book written by Ellen White on these things. And this is counsels from the Lord. And I felt like, yet we are neglecting this. And I think I should mention this. My grandparents, the one I stayed with, they were vegetarian. They were vegan. But I never understood why.
Why?
I didn't understand what's going on.
Wow.
And my uncle as well and his family, they were that as well. So we just knew these people, they don't eat this. But I didn't understand, like, what's going on? What's that? Like, where are you guys getting this thing?
Wow.
You know?
So now to you, this Ellen White now becomes like a living prophet. Like you feel it to say this. After that start, did you now understand to say Ellen White is now like a true prophet, or to you it was still fuzzy, this issue? Because you remember you hated Ellen White.
Yeah. At this point, yes, I actually felt so terrible to say. I felt like as Christians, we are neglecting what God has given.
Okay.
You know, like I felt bad to say I had to be educated by, I guess, a so-called non-Adventist.
Okay.
And this person, it took him so long to even reach this conclusion.
Wow.
Whereas I can reach this conclusion in a day after reading, the writings of Ellen White.
Yeah.
So I felt that, like, I've neglected.
Wow.
I've neglected what was right in front of me.
Wow.
So around this time, I'm more than certain as well that, but of course I was certain from the time when they taught us that Ellen White was the true prophet, because they'd shown, well, it was you teaching, but in that teaching, like, it had shown, or this is not
I don't even remember. It was me teaching.
Yes.
Okay, I didn't even remember. Okay.
But from that teaching, it was clear to say, what are the true markers of a prophet? And also, in that teaching, like, it has shown where will the last day prophet come from. And the evidence was there to say, this person is the one who correctly fits this criteria.
Okay.
So by then I knew. So now I was just feeling bad to say, this is right in front of me. All along, this was right in front of me. But there was just no desire to read these things, But I guess it was of the Lord's timing, maybe, if I can put it like that. So now, just as a side note, as well as a funny story. So this brethren who is teaching me these things, because I'm just there, like, keep coming. Like, I would often even try to, I don't know if I should use the words entice. Like, I would suggest to this person, hey, are you available? Remember, I'm not studying actively, because I'm doing only one module. So I have, like, so basically my schedule is free. I need to work around the schedule of others. Yeah. So I would try to find out from this person, hey, are you available? Maybe Tuesday. Would you like to come to my place? I'm actually gonna cook wara, like, try to, because he was a vegetarian. So when I would say, okay, I'll cook wara, so he then tell me, no, I don't eat that. Okay, I'll buy you what then. Wouldn't you want this? So I'll try, okay, get la custard, hey, come over, because I felt like, where else am I gonna get this thing?
Wow.
Because at that time it was almost like this is the only source of this information. So the brethren was a brother, So along the lines, he then asked me if I would be interested in the issue of courtship. So I also didn't understand what that was. So he said, no, it's just basically getting to know each other. Of course, there are, I guess, I don't know if I should put them as rules to this thing. We don't hang out, just the two of us, but we're just getting to know each other and things like that. And I thought to myself, this sounds like friendship. So why not, So I told my mom, to say, hey, there's this brother. So my mom knows the person. And I said, this is what he suggested, and I'm afraid if I say no, he's going to stop teaching me. And I'm not really interested in knowing the brethren, but I want the teaching, So I'm thinking I should do this. What do you think? And she was like, no, that's not how it works, and it's going to be trifling with hearts, what. Like, but if I say no, he's gonna stop. Where am I gonna get these things? I know she warned against it. No, 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 don't do that. So I thought to myself, okay, Lord, I want this to continue, but this is what it takes for this to continue. So if he asks me again, I'm gonna say yes, so that we can continue with the lessons. So it just so happened that actually he didn't ask again, Instead, after some time, I don't know if he told me or I discovered that he's actually in a courtship with another person. So automatically that also meant that he can't come and visit me anymore. Yeah. So at this time, like, okay, so where am I gonna get this thing? Like, where am I gonna get someone to teach me these things, And also around this time now, I've just bought my first Bible. So I was a typical struggling student. So I saved up for this Bible. So this Bible, I used to see it amongst like the church brethren, So this is the type of Bible.
Okay.
The Mission Study Bible.
All right.
So what was fascinating about it was that I just couldn't fathom the fact that you could collaborate Ellen White writings with the Bible. Like you could have Ellen White comment on like a section, like you could get her view, or rather, let me not say her view, but like a deeper view of this Bible text, So I felt like I want this Bible. I want this Bible. So it took me time. I saved up for it. And I finally got the Bible. And every chance I got, like I'm just there with my Bible. I'm just there reading. So on the side of reading, like I've improved. Like I spend a lot of time reading.
Okay.
But at the same time, I want what these people are teaching.
Okay.
Because when I'm reading, yes, like I'm understanding the issues of godliness. I'm understanding like righteousness. I understand right doing. I understand the issues of separating from sin. But these people are teaching another thing. Of course, it's what again, connected. But then I was like, this stuff that they're teaching, like it's not there. It's not there in my local church. And I can't find it by myself in the Bible. So I need someone that can help me. So I asked this brethren who had been teaching me all along, right? And he then suggests, no, there's actually what we call a missionary camp. Wouldn't you want to come? So I thought, okay, if it has this, then I'm coming. Yeah. So this is now 2017 at the end of the year. And this was my first missionary camp. So I went home. I told my dad, for this December, I want to go to this place, And my dad made arrangements. I think he called you as well to try and find out the location of the place and so forth.
And I was just, like surprised. What is this man calling me about? And then, I remember that one. Yeah.
Yeah, so he made the arrangements to try and find out. So where's this place? Also, I think I should mention this, that there was a friend I had in university. So she doesn't really come from I guess a churchy background. So as I started going, she then followed me.
Okay.
She started coming with me. So we're always together there at church, And she actually even got baptized in one of the crusades.
Wow.
So we're there, man, together. So when I then told her, there's actually a camp, where we can learn this stuff. She was like, okay, I'll also tell my dad. So we'll meet that side. So we went to this missionary camp together, So for me, I must say, it was like that thing of saying count the cost, like it was heavy because the missionary camp was in the villages, of which I'm not really familiar. Like, of course, I have my grandparents staying in the villages, but 1 week and that's it for me, So now this is the first time I'm spending so much time in the villages. And this place was just, I don't know if I should say remote, because I remember we'd even have to fetch water, like using buckets and wheelbarrows, because we're fetching water somewhere
so
far.
Yeah.
The water is salty.
Yeah.
The heat is what they call Limpopo weather.
Yeah.
So it's the worst kind. So every day I'm battling with myself to say, should I stay? Should I stay here? But what I'm learning, it's like, where else? If I live here, where am I gonna get this? So in the missionary camp, like, we're learning, this is where I now first started learning the three angels message, starting to understand investigative judgment.
Wow.
Because also, remember, as Adventists, I knew of what they call 1844, but I didn't understand, like, what is it about, like, what was going on, like, all that. We don't, like, what does it mean for me? Like, even if maybe it's like, no, Christ was moving from the holy place to the most holy place. What does that mean for me?
What is this?
Yeah, so I didn't understand those things, So now when we're at the missionary camp, we are learning those things. So even though, like, the conditions are just the
horrible.
worst of its kind, I think also, when I think about it, I think the missionary camp, even from the side of the organizers, like, I think they were still trying to find their feet. So it was not it was not up to par.
Yes.
If I can put it like
was
that.
the worst thing ever.
It was I know it was it was the worst thing, the sleeping arrangements as well, like, everything. Everything was just terrible, So, like, I was battling each.
I remember there was a certain lady, she would not go to the toilet. Like, I can't. Like, I can't.
Yes.
She spent, I think, a week. It
was so horrible.
I was so sure that this lady spent the whole week without going to the restroom. I'm like,
She ended up going home
Yeah.
because she was not feeling well as a result of not being able to go.
Wow.
So it was just horrible. But for me, I think I knew that if I live here, I'm not gonna find this anywhere else, So I had to stay. So every day it was a challenge. The heat, this, that, And I remember one time I just, said to the Lord, God, why? Because I didn't understand that this is actually not even necessarily spiritual. This is just a Matiani weather. I felt like, God, why? Why are you turning up there? Because I'm used to, like, normal weathers. But like within Limpopo. Even Venda, I felt like, okay, it's hot, but it's not this type of hot. Because here we're speaking about 44, 45, 46. So at this point, I'm like, is this normal? So I just then, I spoke to the Lord about it. I said, I want to be here. Trust me, I want to be here. But I don't understand why you're turning up the heat like this. And if it continues, I'm actually going to leave. Because that person who had left, she'd also asked me to say, aren't you leaving? So when her parents came to fetch her, I had the option of leaving. But I was like, I think let me stay. And just, just grab this information, because we're learning. Every day is packed with information. We're learning the investigative judgment. This is what it means for you. This is what is going on, So I'm juggling, the situation. So after I made that prayer, I was saying, Lord, I can't. Because I think maybe to also explain, maybe to the viewers, to say how extreme this weather was. It was so bad that when I would have the umbrella, I wouldn't hold it to my face. I would actually hold it down to, like, my legs, because the sun was actually piercing. There was pain, literal pain from the sun, so it was just extreme. Like, it was not even about preserving complexion or anything. No, this sun was painful
Wow.
to bear. So at this point in time, I felt like, God, I'm always angry. This weather is just making me angry. Like, I'm not speaking well with these people. And like, at this point, I think, let me just go. I made up my mind. I said, I'm going, God. Like, I tried. I really tried. And around this time, it so happened that you were going. I can remember also in the missionary camp. So we're learning. So it's in reach and outreach. So we also had time to preach to others, which was a very beautiful experience as well, because the same way you are learning, and as you are learning, this is transforming your life. You are getting to know more about God. Like, it's doing something for you when you go out there and you see how people are longing for this as well. Like, it was doing something to my spiritual life, and I just knew that this is extremely bad, like the living conditions, but I'm gonna come back again.
Wow.
I know if they say there's another camp of this nature, I'm gonna be back here again. So yeah, on this particular day, as I said, like, I was very down, and I'd made up my mind to say, God, I think I've walked this road. It's enough now. I've learned what I could learn, but I can't handle this heat anymore. So on that day, you were actually going to minister to the chief of the area. Yes, so you then, I think I approached you, speaking of the heat,
Yes.
and me
You said
considering.
it's too hot. I can't survive, and I'm shocked. Yeah. But of course, I understood. Yeah, I mean, the heat is just too much. But then I was shocked to see the way you were crying. I'm like, oh man.
Yo, it was extreme. Because thing is also, it's almost like there's no rest, because even at night it is so hot. Like, that heat is still existing even at night. So at this point, I felt like I needed a break. We can hardly even get water. Remember, the water was salty. There's no, and I felt like salty water is making us even more dehydrated. So I was like, no, this is enough, God. And on that day, you then said, no, we can go together with the other elder to the chief's house. And then I think we were there for what, maybe 10 minutes or so. He then suggested, no, how about we actually go to Kruger National Park. And we went in. I remember you had the aircon there. That was the first time I was feeling breeze, like proper cold breeze. Like, it was the first time in a long time. So I felt like I think that also did something for me with my spiritual life, because I felt like God cared.
Wow.
To say Neo is not coping, and she is like at the very brink, and she just wants to go at this point in time. And the Lord was like, let me just give this person a break, because that was literally what happened the whole day. We're at Kruger National Park, looking at animals, and I remember we even had to stop because there was, I don't know if it's called a herd, but it was a group of, so it was giraffes. So giraffe is like my favorite animal. So like I could see it that because like it was passing by, in front of the car. So even that for me, I felt like God was like, let me just do something nice for this person so that she doesn't go home because
Wow.
she has headed this child.
Wow.
So it was.
This is a whole.
So we stopped there because now these
I don't
giraffes
even
are
remember
passing
any of
by.
these things you're mentioning. To me, I was focused on the chief. I didn't care about anything. So I don't even remember as to what were you
What
actually
was going
feeling.
on?
But I was
Yeah.
focused on the chief that I need to get this man.
Yeah, no, on my side, it was just, something altogether because looking at that, looking at God's creation, like God felt real,
Wow.
and it's like, this is the God that listens, the God who the previous day I told that I'm not coping. And if this continues, I'm going to have to go home. Yeah, man. And after that experience, I remember even coming back, I was just so happy. I was so excited, like, remember I was complaining even about the way that I felt like I'm I guess, handling people. I was very angry, very rude. You could just say no and just have that king, like I was just so angry. So on this day, it was actually different because now I'm that happy person. I'm asking people like, how was their field trip
Wow.
like? We're getting
Okay.
to talk, and like things got back to normal. I was like, God, I think I'm gonna push. I'm gonna push for some time.
Wow.
I wanna see like where these lessons are going, because remember they were building up, because we were learning the three angels message. So we're taking it it's almost like line by line, so when we say give glory to God, like what does that mean, so that is a whole entire afternoon study. So obviously I wanted to know, what about the other lines, like what do they mean, when we speak, because we'd even done like the beasts on this time, so what does this mean? So I wanted to know, like where will this message end? Like
Wow.
what would it mean? So I was able to, I guess, buy myself a little bit more time through that experience.
Wow.
So eventually I think my family was like, those family getaways.
Yes.
So they asked me, hey, like, we're meeting, don't you want to go? And this camp already now was like at the end. I think a couple of days were remaining, and I remember like wanting to go, but at the same time, I wanted this lesson. And I remember I approached you again to say, I want to leave, And I still remember you shared with me. Funny enough, I've never read that book ever since, but I still remember like the contents of it. So it was, you then quoted for me. Actually, you gave it to me, like you just opened your phone and then you allowed me to read it for myself. So this was Darkness Before Dawn, chapter 2.
Yeah, I don't even remember. Wow, I don't even know. Actually, I'm even shocked. What did I say? Okay, and it was not me. It was a quotation, right?
It was a quotation, yes. So this quotation was basically showing that when the one who needs to hear the truth the most, Satan is gonna bring up like some important like event or like something important that requires the attention of this individual, And at that time I was seeing myself, because at that time, of course, they could have the family function without me, but my family felt like we wouldn't be complete without you. We want you here, And I still needed to hear the rest of the message. As I said, like we're still going deeper into this three angels message, but I had to make a choice that was like, to go or not to go. I struggled within myself, and I just said, Lord, I want to go. Please make sure that somehow, like, I must be able to, like, get the rest of this message. Because in my mind, I didn't even think these things are there on the internet. In my mind, this is the only place.
Wow.
It's this or nothing.
Okay.
Because it's not there in your local church.
Oh.
It's not there in any local church, because I've been like to obviously like different churches within the Adventist realm. So in my mind, I just felt like this is the only place that I can get this thing. So I just say to God, please make a way, like somehow connect me with these people again, like to be able to continue this message, but I really feel like I want to go to my family now. I've learned so much here. I'm still digesting some of the things, but like it's a message that it's like no other. I think David Eshrick, in one of his sermons, he puts it in this way. He speaks about Christ performing the miracle, which I think they say is the first miracle, where he turns water into wine, right? And this wine is served to the people, right? And these people, like, they're just so, like, they're marveling at this wine, to say, like, what is this thing, like, and they even have this thing of, like, like, we've been to weddings and they serve wine, but this wine which we've tasted here, like, it's the best of its kind. Like, this is not common wine that you get anywhere. And David Eshrick links this to doctrines, to teachings. He says that, when you come in contact with present truth, which is the umbrella term for this truth that I was learning, right?
Okay.
So when you come into contact with this present truth, it is wine that you've never tasted before.
Wow.
This wine is only served at, Cana, this wedding of Cana. So it felt like that, to say, I don't think I can get this anyway.
Wow.
This one is out of this world, and I just felt like I want this message again, but Lord, now I gotta go.
Wow.
So I ended up leaving, and when I got there, the family, during devotions, they would say, please give us something. What did you learn? And remember, this is the same shy Neo. Like, I was very shy, whether you are my friend, you are my family, stranger, everything. I'm not the speaker. I don't have the words for it,
Okay.
So now it's like, give me the Bible. I want to show you something, So I was there, being able to teach. I remember in one of the teachings, like, I was, so this is what I learned at mission camp, of course. So now I'm just like, replicating what I learned, to say, so this is what I learned. So one of the things that I remember teaching on was the issue of separating the common from the uncommon. Common from the holy things. I think that's the better way to put it. Yeah, separating the common things from the holy things, and being able to show, like, what are the holy things, like, holy things such as the Sabbath, like, being able to show the level of sacredness that exists within the Sabbath, sacredness that exists within the Bible. Because the other thing, which is one of the most important things that I learned from the mission camp, was that, like, the Bible speaks, right? Like, you don't have to add, like, your like your own words, because God has not left any stone unturned.
Wow.
These things, they are addressed in the Bible, and even as I would have questions, because remember, I'm new to this missionary work, present truth. So I would obviously ask questions, and whenever I'd ask the question, the answer would be, let us turn our Bibles to, so it's not a person just answering, oh, I think, like, we didn't have that at the missionary camp, like, opinions aside, like, you were just having just the straight testimony, just a plain, thus saith the Lord, on this matter. So I just learned to say, like, the Bible speaks. It's not a silent book, So even then, I was able to I guess, speak to my people and show them that, the Bible is so sacred. You should not remove anything. You shouldn't add, and this is a thus said the Lord. And it is like authority over your life. Like, this is not like it's not a feeble, compilation of words. It's not just stories, like this is sacred truth, of which being able to show. Okay, also the issue of the sanctuary. By then they had not touched much on it, but they had touched into it a bit, because once you speak 1844, you must go to
You must go to the sanctuary.
Yeah,
Yes.
so I just didn't understand by then in that first missionary camp. I didn't understand, like, what does the sanctuary look like what are the things in the sanctuary, but I understood that there's something called holy place, and then there's what we call most holy place.
Oh, wow.
So that one I understood. So around this time, like, when I was teaching my people, like, I was able to show that the level of holiness, that exists, like, it's almost like it's consistent. The level of holiness that exists, or rather, that the Bible holds, is the same level of holiness that the Sabbath holds. It's the same level of holiness. So it's like these things are holy. Like, you can't just play around with these things. Like, and also for me, at this time, I remember previously, like, I was not afraid to break Sabbath. Now I understood that, what, like, this is so holy. Like, you can't. So I after this missionary camp, I now needed to start applying.
Wow.
Start applying what I have learned. So now I just stopped watching movies because I didn't have time for those anymore.
Wow.
Not because I lost interest. I just didn't get the time anymore, So what I would be doing in my free time, like, if instead of watching movies, oh, also the mission camp finished, I get this is 2017. So it's now 2018. So 2018 is me basically applying the things that I've learned. So
Wow.
now I'm actually in university. I changed that degree. I'm now in Nelson Mandela University,
Okay.
which is Port Elizabeth.
Okay. Is that in KwaZulu-Natal? No.
Port Elizabeth.
Oh, Port Elizabeth.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
So I've just arrived there, and I've made peace with the fact that I didn't get a degree in UL, but I got something greater than that, because again, at this time, I'm thinking that's the only place I could have received that information, because even when I got to Nelson Mandela University, remember, my first proper encounter is now like this mission camp, like, where I can say I've learned so much. And so now when I went that side, it was almost like I know everything.
Wow.
When I got that side, it was like people would ask me, so what, So
Okay.
now, I remember also I said I was very shy.
Yes.
Like, I'm not the kind of person to comment in a Sabbath school lesson,
Yes.
all those things.
Yeah.
I would keep quiet, But now I'm in a situation whereby, like, I know what's
Wow.
going on. You
Wow.
get my point?
Okay.
So I then realized that I was not shy, actually. I think the problem is I didn't have anything to say.
Say. I understand.
I think when I look back, that's what I'm thinking. To say, no, I think I wasn't really shy. I just didn't know what to say.
That's
But
normally
no.
what happens. Yeah, you feel like some of us can't talk. I say, wait until you know what to say.
Yeah, so now, like, I'm that talkative person, so I'm new in the church. So I was actually not attending this DASM because I was closer to the local church. So
Okay.
this DASM was far. So I was in the local church, and I would be that person, in the summer school lesson. I would be able to raise my hand. I would be able to say, let's turn to this and this. Let's what, and I was very much active, and I was so active that now people would ask, and around this time as well, because I moved from hating Ellen White to reading that, because that was the most easily digestible I guess word of God. It was like clear, it was, and I remember the Bible I bought, which is this one. It's actually a King James version. So I struggled here and there. So what I would do, and hence I loved my Bible, is that if I read something and I didn't really get it, or I'm struggling to see how does this apply, whatnot, I would just read the quotations from Ellen White regarding that chapter. So I'd be able to gather the information, gather what this text is saying, basically. Yeah. So the information that I have is mostly Ellen White says. Ellen White says, So I'm now that person. So instead of saying, in the book of Romans, Paul says, what, I'm the Ellen White says. In Christ Object Lessons, Ellen White says. In Steps to Christ, Ellen White says. In this. So there was me, So I think people felt like, oh, this person reads a lot and whatnot. But then it was just the beginning. I just started learning these things. And as one would say, I think was it Jeremiah, the one who was saying that, I vowed to myself that I'm not gonna say anything, but inside here,
like fire burning.
It's like fire, like you just can't keep quiet. So that was what was happening as well, to say I just couldn't keep quiet.
Wow.
Like I would be that person at church. I'm actively involved and stuff like that. I'm now starting to make the changes. Also, I think I should mention the time I was still in TEV, and someone had remember I said someone taught me the health reform. I abruptly just made a decision to become vegan, right? And I didn't know how to go around it. So my main thing that I would eat was, remember, I come from a home where we're not vegetarian or anything, but of course we are familiar with some vegetarian stuff, because not like we eat meat every day. So I would try to replicate some of those what do you call the meals.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll try to replicate some of the vegetarian meals from home. And one of the main vegetarian or vegan meals was brown rice and lentils. Yo, I ate it until I was now sick. Like I didn't even want to sit next to me, because I'd made a change like abruptly, right? So now when I went to PE, I then said, okay, Lord, I want to give this diet thing like another chance, because I feel like when I tried it then, I ended up being sick. I had to just go back to what I know. So now I do want to give this a chance. So by then I just started kancane, like with just vegetarian meals here and there, but like familiarizing myself with this thing.
Wow.
And making changes in my life, as well, the way that I would dress, because I loved short things, and now it's like I'm like, I'm fine. I'm fine with these things, like, so I'm changing the way that I'm doing things, what I do for hobbies or like spare time, all that is changing. And the second missionary camp. So it's almost like it's piling up. What I would say is that it's what one would call a come up higher, my people, come up higher experience, because it's like you just keep like being invited.
So
by God.
basically, ne, you actually felt now that I have some kind of a relationship now with the Lord. Like
Yes.
it is much different from what you had experienced it before you had met the truth like that.
Yes, most definitely. A lot had now changed. Even like, of course, my spiritual life. Like, I was now that person that would just be on the road, and you would see my mouth moving, and I'm actually talking to God.
Wow.
Like, we were close. Now we are friends.
Wow.
At this time of my life,
Wow.
me and the Lord, like, we're friends.
Wow.
Like, have conversations. I'm, literally moving my mouth and I'm talking and I mean, maybe one would think, well, this looks crazy, but I was so used to it, like I would involve him in everything that I'm doing. I'll tell him,
Wow.
I'll tell him what's going on, what is on my mind, I'd have conversations and I didn't feel like I'm talking to myself.
Which is basically what everyone can experience,
Yes.
because I think also for me that's the deep part of my walk with the Lord, where I felt that I can actually talk to him, and he answers me, and I talk to him and I feel it, that I've spoken to someone and this thing is like this, like that. Even, I mean, many times when I meet with a situation or a current situation, hey, Lord, I don't know how I'm going to get out of this thing, and then I would be opening my Bible, I find an answer directly hitting on exactly what I was asking the Lord, and then you just can't help but, and then what he says there is exactly what's going to happen. It's exactly what's going to start happening, and I'll see, so Lord, you answered me there. Oh, okay. And just like that, it was the most beautiful thing. I mean, it's still the most beautiful thing ever. You feel that I'm not walking alone anymore. I have someone by my side,
definitely
bigger than any one of you. It's an experience, I tell you.
It is an experience. So also, like, this time of the year, this 2018, remember I've moved from 2017 2018. Like, the way my life is changing now, people in my circle, like, they are interested to know, like, what changed, because also remember my dad just took me to a camp. According to him, this is some youth camp. It's not the first time my dad is driving me to a youth camp. So it's like, what kind of youth camp was this? Because what's going on?
Wow.
Like, it's a different type of youth camp. And my little sister then got very interested, the one that follows after me, and she said, I'm going with you this time around. I want to hear these things for myself. And I also felt like I can't even explain it, like I can't explain these prophets. I can't explain the stranger's message properly. Like, I feel like you have to come, you have to see it for yourself. And I just like the fact that I didn't even have to push her, she wanted to come. My cousin as well, that we had gone to the first missionary camp together. Her sister as well was interested. So this time around we came as a family, to learn. And this, I think, for me, was one of the best mission camps because the conditions were better. So I was never tempted to leave. So that was very important.
Okay.
So like the sleeping, like everything was better, like was just excellent. The bathrooms are great. Like, of course, it's not luxury. It's not what we have at home, but it's like, I can live with this. I can actually do this for a month or even two if it comes to that. The weather was bad, but it was not that, like the first one, So in that camp, I think what I liked is that now I got to learn about the sanctuary. I didn't think we could spend the entire month talking about the sanctuary.
Oh, wow.
I just thought, like, I was so surprised. And it was like, yes, we've spent this month speaking about it, but we're not done. We need more time to actually speak about this thing. Like, it was amazing. That time was really amazing. And I was so thankful as well to the Lord to say, the Lord I guess kept to his promise, because I had asked him to say, connect me with these people again, because I knew that I'm not gonna be in TEF anymore. So I knew that probably we're gonna lose connection. Maybe we might not get this opportunity again, but now I got that opportunity again, to learn. And this time it's like, it's the same message, but it's in another format, coming from the lens of the sanctuary. I felt my Christianity, like, was coming together.
Wow.
The knowledge I have of God, and let me say the plan of redemption more than anything.
Okay.
I understood it so much better.
Wow.
You know, like I saw, you know, okay, this is what God is trying to achieve with us. This is where God would want us to be as a people. I started understanding how special I am as an Adventist.
Wow.
You know, to say, what does it mean to say you're a peculiar people, or you know, like a royal priesthood? We started understanding, you know, priesthood coming from that angle of the sanctuary. You know, so I started feeling like, you know, the best thing, and I often say this to my friend if she's watching. She knows. I told her recently to say, I frequently have moments where I just thank God that I'm Adventist.
Wow.
And I would say to the Lord that even if you don't do anything for me beyond this, making me an Adventist was the best thing you could have done for me.
There's nothing that tops it. Eh?
Nothing tops that, because
It's like
it's amazing. Like, I started understanding even when Ellen White speaks about how the greatest wealth of truth has been entrusted to Seventh-day Adventists.
okay.
So this was as a result of that second mission camp.
Wow.
I started seeing that this is not just truth.
Wow.
This is a wealth of
Wow.
truth.
Wow.
This is the Lord investing in us as Adventists.
Oh wow.
You know, so at this point in time in my life, like, nothing could shake me. Like, you could never get me out of the church. Now I know I'm in the right place.
Wow.
Now I know that like this it doesn't, like, you could never convince me that no, like Ellen White is not the real prophet. Maybe she wrote what racist, you know, like people do try to like no, you know, like downplay you know the power that the Lord gave to Ellen White and her writings. Like, you could never shake me after that camp. Like, no, like, I'm certain now. Like, I know I'm in the right place. I know that this is the church of God. I know that this, you know, this message, it tops anything and everything we've ever had. Like, to a point where hearing, and I think this is what I love the most about coming into contact with this truth, because a songwriter puts it in this way: oh love that will not let me go. Right? So for me, it's like, even if my Christianity gets bumpy, you know, I can never be a person where I can forsake this truth.
Wow.
You know, like Ellen White would say, like, when you are like in the dark, go to the last place where you saw the light. You know, and for me, this present truth is the place where I've seen the light. It's the last place where I've seen the light, when I feel like relationship with the Lord maybe is, you know, I'm the one who has gone astray, and you know, I seek for present truth.
And you know, from my experience, ne, is that the truth, once you, okay, like, there is not even one person. Before that, before mission camps, I used to do crusades, you know, where we run crusades, and then we do a crusade maybe for 2 weeks, and we are just dealing with the truth there. Amazing. But I would baptize 20 people and I'd be so happy. Like 30 people, and I'd be like, but there was something that tells me, man, when we were baptizing these people, I could see, man, Lord, I've not done enough. These people are far from you, ne? Like, they have no idea who you are. And it would go, and I would know, there's no way. I've got 20 on paper, but in reality, I don't even have 2. You know, like 2 or 3 people that I can say these ones will remain. And indeed, after maybe 6 months or a year, then all of them would be gone. You know, and it was like that all the time. But as soon as I discovered that you can teach this truth in house to house, You can share with someone, sit with someone, discuss state of the dead properly.
Yes.
And the person is like listening and they want you to come back tomorrow. They even say, come back tomorrow.
Yes.
I'll be there at what time? They are the ones now who are forcing you. Ne?
Yeah.
Previously, it used to be us who forced to get into their people's houses.
Yeah.
Now, it was them now were calling us to say, no, come at this time. No, I'll be ready for you. And man, you go there and you, when you finish, you see the person is finished. They have no question. And
Yeah.
they can't even gainsay it. They may decide not to do it, but they know this is the truth.
Yeah.
You know? And then a lot of people, when they make a stand for Christ, you can't shake them.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think I like the fact that you're also bringing up the issue of preaching to others. Because after that camp, now the word of the Lord was that fire in my belly that I couldn't keep quiet. You know, I remember where I was staying, I had stayed in the same place for 3 years. So although people are in the other like apartments are changing, like I'm that one person who has remained, there. So I had a neighbor who was he was a guy, and he was far older than me. You know, he passed by my room and I had my Bible. As I said, my mission study became my best friend. So I'm there, I'm reading, I'm highlighting and whatnot. And at that point in time, I felt like, God, I want to speak to this person. But I'm not going to start him. If you want me to talk to him, he must start me, And he then said to me, hey, what are you reading? I remember I had asked the Lord, please bring him to me. Let him just ask me what I'm reading about. And he actually asked exactly not the way.
Wow.
What are you reading?
Wow.
What are you reading about? Because I had my Bible. I said, come in. I started, because now at this point in time, as I'm saying, I felt like I don't know if I say it felt complete. I felt like, remember when I said that other camp when I left, I felt like this message is not complete. I didn't get it until the end, but it's sufficient to keep me going. But I'd like to know more, So after the mission camp in 2018, I felt like this is it. This is everything I have to know to get me to heaven. This is it. If I never hear a message post this mission camp, that's fine.
Wow.
I can get there through my Bible, and praying. Like what I've learned is more than enough. So this brethren, well, it's not a brethren because it was just a neighbor. Yeah. So I saw that he was willing to learn. So every day I was there at his place, busy with him, teaching. And I think he was one of the, I could say, easy students.
Okay.
Because he was not, like, it's not those people you still need to convince there is a God, the Bible and its authority. No, like he was the easy student in the sense that I feel like he was already searching for truth. It's just that he probably didn't know where to get it. So I spoke to him. I was teaching him again and again, and I had people that would tell me that it's inappropriate because you are in a guy's room with a door closed, and that's the appearance of evil. But at that time, I just felt like, who else is gonna do it if not me? This is my neighbor. I felt like I couldn't defer the work to another person. Yeah, I felt like I have to do it because also remember, for me, I was just appreciating the fact that I'm where I am because of the efforts of people. People labored for me when I was that girl that never even wanted to go to church, never even wanted to be seen wearing church clothes, you know. I never wanted to be associated with this Sabbath, you know. I moved from that to
Wow.
being this person
Wow.
because of the efforts of the people, you know. So I felt like I have to be that in someone else's life, you know. I have to um plant the seed, if that's what it means. Like I might not harvest, you know, I might not water the plants, but let me plant the seed in
Wow.
someone's life,
Wow.
you know, because someone else did that for me,
Wow.
you know. So I did that, and eventually I felt like, okay, this guy, he's not complaining that it's inappropriate, but of course, here and there when I mentioned to some people, it's like you can't go in there alone, you know. So I prayed to the Lord about it, you know, and asked, okay, God, can someone else take over? You know, and I think that this is what is beautiful about this whole Christian thing, because you realize that we're not following working cunningly devised fables, you know, because after I prayed to the Lord to say, can someone come and take over? This guy, his name was, is it Mulifi or Mulife? Yeah, that. So he was the one who said to me, hey, I met someone who says they are from your church. Remember, I never told him that I'm thinking of dropping you, you know. But he then said to me, I met someone who says they're from your church, and that person actually knows you. And I told that person that I'm doing, you know, these studies with you. And that person also was saying, hey, I'd like to also teach you a thing or two.
Wow.
You know, and that's how he moved from me to the other person. You know, and
Wow.
this brethren who had taken over came and told me, hey, I actually met someone who said that you were teaching them, you know, and he then said, I'd also like to teach this person. So I've made arrangements with him. And I said, it's fine. You can actually continue with the whole project. You know, I don't have to, you know, but I would ask him, like I stopped lessons with him, but I would ask him to say, how is it, you know, with the guy that's teaching you, and, you know, always have, you know, good stories to tell me. And, you know, like you could see as well that, you know, this was the Lord leading this whole project as well.
Wow.
You know, because from the moment it started, and he did mention that, you know what, I actually have been trying to look for a church, you know, I because a lot of people just know that this church is not the right one, you know, but they don't know which one then should I go to. Like, where can I get truth?
Like it's like I can feel that there's something not right about this whole
Yes.
thing, and I've seen it a lot. You know, a lot of people would criticize the Prophet Bushir a lot,
Yeah.
and they can tell, man, no, man, this charlatan, there's a problem here, man.
Yes.
There's a problem here somewhere. There's a problem, but they don't really know how to tell that this is wrong and this is right, and they just see something is not right. And sometimes it makes most people, it makes them to just throw away the whole Christianity,
Yes,
and then
that's true.
because they don't know, then
Because they think it's the same. This whole thing is the same. Like you guys are doing wrong, all of you. So the whole religion is out. Yeah. So even him, I feel like he was in a position where he's searching. He just does, he knows what is not right, what feels not right, and but he doesn't want to stay away from God. Yeah, well, so he has a desire to say, I do want, you know, to learn. And I think for me, I saw myself in him, you know, whereby you just have, you know, like you want to learn. And even if someone was to say, hey, here's the Bible, do it for yourself. Like, you don't know, where would I start? Like,
wow.
what should I open? Like, what's going on? You know, so you just need someone to almost like direct you and start and ignite something for you, and then you'd be able to continue. So yeah, that's basically what happened. That was the first person, you know, that was my first person whereby it's like outside of like a ministry. Yeah. So like moving forward, then yes, I was like, okay, no, I can do this. I just probably need to stay away from getting myself in situations which look inappropriate whilst trying to push this gospel.
Wow.
Yeah, Mom, because I would just be that person who goes in alone, you know, like whether it's safe or not, like it
It
didn't
doesn't
matter.
matter, yeah.
I didn't think this is not safe. I just felt like you need to hear this, you know, so I'm coming in, you know, so I'm there.
Wow.
So yeah, as I
Wow.
grew, I then said, okay, maybe let me reconsider. Maybe I shouldn't. Yeah. But yeah, basically that's the long and short of my
Yeah.
testimony. A lot a lot changed drastically when I look back, you know, to say, wow, was that me, Mara? You know, like very indifferent to the things of God, you know, not having a desire for it, you know, like getting bored. I was that person that would sleep at church. I was that person that wouldn't come back for the afternoon, or if I'm there, I don't even hear anything, you know. And now I've moved to being that person who's, you know, so interested. I was even that person who would switch off my phone on Sabbath. Like, I don't want to hear anything. Sabbath is for me and my God. Like whether you are family, you just know you're not gonna find me if you're gonna call on Sabbath. Whether it's an emergency or it's what, you're not gonna find me. Sabbath is sacred for me, you know. And I think more than anything, I till this day I thank the Lord for the experience that He has given me, because it always brings me back, you know, because as far as a Christian journey is concerned, it's a battle.
It is.
You know, you are fighting
Yes.
self
Yeah.
because self wants to dominate. Self wants, you know, its own things, you know, like but this truth is what, you know, like it keeps my eyes single, like focused to say, even if I move away a bit, it's not the next person who's gonna come and preach to me. No, it's the Lord Himself, you know, through the Bible, the very Bible that I bought. You know, as you said as well, that you know, you get to a point where you tell the Lord, this is what I feel, this is what I'm experiencing. And the Lord directs you to say, go and read the book of Samuel, for example. You read that thing and it answers everything.
It like jumps out at you. It's
Yes.
like a light bulb, like and you feel it that
Yes.
there's no way.
And you're like, was this like this all along?
Yeah.
Like this story, was it always
yeah,
like this?
wow.
Like, is it like this because I'm going through this? Like, what's going on?
And it has gotten to a point where, like the entire Bible, when I open it, there are so many messages that I've received even previously that even when I share with someone else, I'm not sharing something that is just like like what I would say, information like chemistry or computer science or engineering, where I'm just sharing information. It has I'm sharing something that is now part of me. You know, it's like,
Yes.
wow.
Yes.
So can you say then that after discovering the truth for this time, it has really like impacted your Christianity?
It has impacted my Christianity because I felt like, you know, there's this other pastor who once said that when he speaks about ministering to others, he says that give a brother a fighting chance. You know, he speaks about the great controversy to say, whether you like it or not, we are fighting here.
Wow.
We're fighting for you know, salvation, you know, and you have to be aware, like you need to be awake. You can't be in war, in a battle, and you are sleeping. And so he says that, you know, like, you who knows the truth, you have the responsibility to wake up the next person.
Wow.
So that they are aware, you know, regarding this fight, because now you've given them a fighting chance, even if they lose, you know, but at least you got a chance.
Yeah.
At least you were aware what's happening, and you had a chance
Wow.
at actually this thing. So for me, this present truth was a chance at this whole thing. Like,
Wow.
I understood my role as well in the
Wow.
controversy,
Wow.
and I'm able to see that even if on that day I don't make it, I know my Jesus will be disappointed because he has made the provision. He has invested so much
Wow.
in me. And as I said,
Wow.
I got this by going to University of Limpopo, and I used to be so upset, like before I finished my degree. At times I would be upset to say, why didn't I just get in here to begin with? Because now I'm 2 years late, later than my peers, if there's such a thing. But I felt like I'm 2 years behind. But whenever I bring to memory what TEF was all about, I would say, God, I wouldn't have it any other way.
Wow.
That was actually worth it.
Wow.
It was worth this 2 years
Wow.
of my life.
Wow.
So most definitely,
Yeah.
like this present truth, it has changed my whole entire Christianity. And one would often say that Christianity is a worldview, right? It's how you view the world. You're gonna operate from how you see the world based on that Christian view. So obviously, because my Christian view has changed, like I can have things where I know God. Okay, for example, I think the other day we had a conversation, but for the sake of our viewers, I think I should bring this up, right? So the time I I came back from the 2018 camp, mission camp, right? There I had a proper, like 100% reformation, whereby I'd say, Lord, if you're saying it must be done this way, then let's have it your way. Let's if the Lord says no secular music, let's have it his way. If the Lord says we're not eating this, then let's try that. Let's see how this would actually work out. And when I look back to remember, because I was coming back from mission camp at 2018, it means I'm now applying what in 2019. So when I look at 2019 and I look at where my life was, I can only say, this is as a result of God. To God be the glory.
Wow.
Like my mind was sharp.
Wow.
My mind was so sharp, like because of the way I was eating. Like now, because I'm making compromises, I'm about to even just forget my name at this point. I'm not as sharp. Like at some point, I think in the conversation you and I were having, we're saying, at some point you think this is age, but you realize that I can't deteriorate this fast, like in a short space of time. Like the mind needs to, if it's not up to par, but at least be somewhere. Like I look at the way that I was eating, like my skin was so great that people just stop me to say, hey, what are you using? Like on the street, generally, you don't know me, but you just stop me to say, hey, what are you actually using on your skin? I was never sick. I never had any pain in my life feeling, oh, Ngati, today I woke up feeling this, but those are some of the things I experience now. Like you open the cabinet, I have body panado there, and for me, I obviously just end up thinking, at some point when I was exercising things the way the Lord would say they should be done, I didn't have this. So I started also feeling like these things, they're not so much about pleasing God, like these are things put in place to benefit you. So you are not doing health reform because he says, thus saith the Lord. You will experience the benefits.
You will reap the
You will
rewards
reap the rewards for yourself.
of following in these things, because it's God anyway who puts them in place,
Yes.
and He must know better
Yes.
what is better for you, and it's His love actually.
Yes,
And
definitely.
of course, it may look like it's not, but it's His love. Wow, wow. Oh wow, that was a beautiful journey. Really, I've enjoyed listening to your testimony. Shocking in every way, and it was really, really, really amazing. And we pray for you
Yeah, no, definitely.
that you may be able to continue in your journey and discover the Lord even much more. If our viewers, if there's someone out there, who who's struggling and who wants to know God and who thinks maybe these things don't exist, maybe this is a fable or this, and you're tired of searching, try this God and see for yourself if you will not be able to sit down and look at it and say, had it not been for the Lord. Just as Sister Nell. Any final words before we?
I think, okay, what I would say as, I guess, final words, this is something I learned from one of the brethren, because as I said that a lot of people were involved in my journey.
Mhm.
So this is a totally even different brethren from the ones I had mentioned previously.
Mhm.
After the camp, 2018, he said to me, actually he quoted the Bible, right? From this message that Paul wrote to Timothy, where he says, make full proof of thy ministry, you know. And in those words, he said to me, now, when you're starting this journey, people together with Satan, they're gonna want to almost like to see you fall and make a mockery of what you were trying to achieve, right? Like to say, yeah, you thought you were better. You know, here you were saying, nah, don't do this, nah, don't do what, nah, you know, count me out of this, nah, don't do. So you are saying that you're gonna experience the battle more fierce because Satan wants to make it seem like it was a mistake to choose like this, you know, a gospel or like to go with this God, you know. So he was saying like be vigilant, like at all times, like pray, make full proof of their ministry. And he said to me as well that if you fall, it's not gonna be the same as just a regular member, you know, falling, because you've come to a point where you've made a stand different, you know, from the rest of the world. Because I'm that person on Facebook, you know, I'm always posting, you know, quotations and so forth, such that someone actually sent me a DM and said, "What is your favorite Ellen White quotation?" You know, because I'm that person. Yeah. So I think that is definitely my message to the people as well, to say, because I know some of the viewers here, they are Adventist, and there are people that have chosen this message as well, you know, but along the way, you know, like the battle gets fierce, and Satan wants to set you aside and discourage you so that you don't continue in this thing, simply because you have chosen to be counted on the Lord's side, you know, because this is the truth, this is the present truth, this is the wealth of truth that God would want us to know. It doesn't get further than this. We'll learn in heaven.
Yeah.
But as far as earth is concerned, we're still here. This is the truth that God wants you to know. So if you're out there, please make full proof of thy ministry. You know, like don't allow yourself to go out easily.
Wow.
You know, to have your light dimmed out by Satan. You know, keep fighting. Honestly, it gets so hard. Like some of the battles that I've had to go through, I would think to myself, if I was not of this message, I don't think this was going to happen. You know, this is happening because Satan wants me out of here. He doesn't want me to you know, it's almost like he wants you to look like a hypocrite, you know, to say, get out of these things, when because these things don't leave it, you know. But at each and every time, I'm trying to make full proof of my ministry, if I can put it like that, to say, I will keep at this thing, I will keep going, because this is the truth.
Wow.
It doesn't get any better than this, doesn't get more truthier than this.
Wow.
So yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much. It was an honor really having you. Hope to have you back one time. We'll discuss maybe other topics and things like that. But it was lovely really to sit down with you and for you to share your testimony with us. And for our viewers, please don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. And also, please leave us a comment there. Anything that you is in your mind, anything that you want to say, as free as possible. Say whatever you feel like saying in the comments below. But then it was really lovely for us to have our guest with us, and I've really enjoyed my time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much.
Impact, changing lives. Care to hit the like and subscribe button.